All right, guys. So we are in the middle of tornado watch and flash flood watch. I just went outside. Well, I just went to the store. So before it started, went to the store, thought I could beat it. The goal was to go to the store, get my protein, go to the gym, work out. It got super bad outside. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go home before it gets too bad. And now it looks like it hasn't even really done anything outside. So I'm like, man, do I go to the gym now? Do I leave? And I know what'll happen. As soon as I go back out there, it'll start raining cats and dogs and pouring again. So you know what? I'm gonna stay home, get some more work done, because this is supposed to be going on most of the day. But however, before I left, I had a coaching call with one of my clients, and she had some really things, really important things. I guess important things happen to her over the last few weeks. After actually not the last few weeks, last week, that I think some of you might benefit from. So she's been in my program now 2 weeks, just ended week 2, going into the third week, and over the first week she lost 10. No, she lost 8 pounds, I think, over the first week, and she lost 0.66. She lost something. Anyway, over the first 2 weeks, she lost a total of 9.36 pounds over the first 2 weeks. So she's going into week 3. So the first week she lost the most weight. This past week she only lost 0.66 pounds. And she's doing some things that what I believe is causing her slower than normal weight loss. Now, we already know that the first week you can expect you're doing something new, something that you may not have done for a long time, something that's relatively drastic. You can expect to lose weight faster in that first week. So that's expected, that she lost the majority of that weight over the first 2 weeks, that what did I say it was? 9.36 pounds over, so probably 8 pounds over the first week or so, a little bit over 8 pounds. But this last week, she only lost 0.66 pounds. So we were analyzing what she was doing, and there's 3 main things that she was doing that I think you might be doing, you may have done, and you could learn a lesson from my client's mistake. And I shouldn't necessarily say mistake. It was just some of the things that she didn't realize she was doing, and I want to share the 3 with you. So the first thing she was doing was she was adding salt to food. Now, not that adding salt to food is bad, but when you're adding, some would call excessive amounts of salt to food, or if you're used to eating foods that are saltier and just adding more than you should be adding to food, because sodium will cause your body to retain water. And although her weight was going down, her weight's just not going down fast enough. So that's one of the things that we're changing over this next week, is making sure that she's really following the meal plan the way it's laid out and adding a lot less salt to her food, even switching over to some salt alternatives like Mrs. Dash and other things like that. So the second thing she was doing was she was guessing what she was eating. And I've made plenty of videos about why you wouldn't want to guess how much you're eating. So I don't necessarily think there's any bad foods, but the problem with most people is not what they eat, it's how much they eat. And the eyes can be very deceptive when it comes to you thinking of an amount of food is one thing and then you measuring it and be completely different. And what I told her was, I said, I've been doing this as a coach and a trainer for over 30 years. I said, even with all the experience that I have, I would not be able to successfully guess how much of a food I was eating. I would say, and I told her, I would say if out of 10 times, I would probably get it wrong, probably 7 to 8 of those times. And I don't think I would get it 100% on the money. Some of the times I might get it really close, but the majority of the times I would be off. So it's not likely that you're going to be very successful with eating if you're guessing. So try not to guess. If you're tracking your foods and you're not tracking accurately, you're doing tracking a disservice. And if you're wondering why tracking's not working, because you think somehow your internal scale is better than an actual scale, you're wrong. Don't guess. Weigh and measure your foods and know precisely how much you're eating. And the last thing she was doing was trying to keep in a lot of the foods that she normally ate before she joined my program. And what I tell my clients oftentimes is the goal of this first few weeks is to start to create some type of change. And if we don't, we can't expect change if we don't change something. So oftentimes for a lot of people, the meal plan can be very shocking because you are going to not be eating necessarily any exotic foods. It's everything that you would buy at your supermarket, but it may still not be foods that you eat on a regular basis. You may not be eating you're definitely probably not going to be eating the amounts of these foods. I try to make my meal plans simple where you can buy these foods anywhere you go, but most people, especially if you're from a country outside of, like the westernized countries. I think she's from Haiti. I could be wrong, but you're probably going to want to either eat foods different from the foods that you normally eat within your culture, or you're going to want to drastically cut down or decrease how much of those foods you eat. So she was really trying to keep a lot of those foods in, which again are not that big of an issue, but it's the amounts, and trying to spark some change and get her to start to really lose weight and get on the right track. That's something that you want to avoid doing. That, and I told her, I said, look, if those foods and the amounts that you really enjoy eating them, if that was right, we wouldn't be working together in the first place, because that would have worked, but it didn't work. So that's why we're working together. So again, the three things that she was doing was adding salt. I don't want to say excessive, but adding salt to her food is probably more than she should have been adding. So find a flavor alternative for the salt, or really minimize how much you eat of it, because that could really cause your body to retain water. The second thing was guessing how much you're eating. Try not to guess, because you're likely not to be accurate, and you could be eating hundreds of more calories than you think you are and not even realizing it. So try not to guess. And last but not least, the way you were eating prior to starting your diet is part of the reason why you needed to start the diet in the first place. So you're going to need to make some drastic changes. There's going to be some things that you may need to eliminate completely, but most things you'll just need to either drastically decrease or cut out for a time being until you can get control over those things. So those are the three things she was doing. You may have done those things in the past. You may have some issues with those things right now, but let me know down below in the comments what you think about this topic. And if you need help on your journey, click the first link down below in the description, fill out the form, and the two of us will figure out what we need to do together to get you from where you're at to where you want to be.